Hello everyone, this is Kelvin. We're bringing you an episode of Nerdadomus where I talk about all things fantasy and my predictions of fantasy and where it's going. So a few days ago, I made a prediction that Games Workshop was going to release Age of Sigmar as a third game and make that a stepping ground for both. And I was way wrong. So it's, as George Foreman used to say, it's time to eat crow pie, and so I'm humbled. It was interesting. Games Workshop was willing to walk away from an industry that itself had carved and built over decades, and now it just walked away, scrapping that all, going for a smaller market. Now, in my previous episode, I did talk about that situation and how Games Workshop put themselves in that situation simply because of their tactics to generate more revenue. We all knew there would be a point when people would quit playing the game because it was too expensive to continue. And not only that, because of the price point to get into it, and people would be too intimidated to pick up the rule set, buy all the models and all the miniatures. And so I think that's why you saw, even though 8th edition was the best rule set that Games Workshop ever made, it was also the least played, simply because it required more miniatures on the tabletop, and also things have changed. Back when Games Workshop was at the top of the market, the video games weren't as prevalent as they are now. Now you have MMOs and you have all sorts of different types of video games. You have games on the phone, consoles, and you can play on the go. So there's no. It's harder to spend that much time on the hobby because there's so many other things to satisfy that type of need. So anyhow, I will say this though. My first impression of Age of Sigmar, I'm reading the rules, I'm looking at all the media. I bought White Dwarf and I'm reading it right now. I think they've done a great job. It's beautiful. The artwork is beautiful. The miniatures themselves are beautiful. The rule set is simplistic, easy to pick up, and the rules do flow. I do have some concerns about balance. There's some things that I find, like in the past they weren't usable, now they are. Things are in general do more damage and are easier to hit. But I still feel there's a way to exploit the system, and I think we're going to find out real soon what those issues are. And I think they're doing a lot of things right in the way they set up the model. It's a live system now. And to me, some people might like it. To me, I don't know. The reason why I'm concerned about the live system is because the idea is, and this is where I predict they're going to be going now, is they'll continue to introduce war scrolls as they come out. And because it's a live system, they're going to be introducing them in phases. Their idea is no longer creating a balanced game. Their idea now really is to sell miniatures and going back to the roots. And so I don't think they're going to balance the system out. So even if it's balanced today, I know that it's going to shift and break in the future. And so now, if they do a good job of keeping up the live rule set, then I think it's a good thing. But traditionally speaking, Games Workshop has never been good about it. And so you're going to see possibly that that system, I'm hedging that Games Workshop is not going to be too concerned about a balanced game, and it's going to be focused more on creating miniatures that we want to buy. So that said, I'm thinking, okay, they've done a great job. They've set themselves in a good place right now as far as they've completely changed the names of all of the models now and all of the races. Everything is under their own IP now. They've changed the look drastically. And it's great artwork. But for me personally, I don't care for it. I've never been a great Games Workshop fanboy. I've never really loved Games Workshop in the sense that I love their games, I love their miniatures. I loved fantasy, and I continue to love fantasy. I've played other game systems that I thought were far funner and far superior than Games Workshop, but I stayed with Games Workshop because I loved the fantasy set. I loved the dwarves. I loved elves and ogres and all of that lore that ties to our human nature, right? To our fantasy, to our fables. And so having this this new world is a bit stale to me. It doesn't speak to me, and so I think it's playable. I think they've done a good job. I'm just not interested in it. So that said, I will continue to play it. I do plan on meeting with some buddies and playing a few games of Age of Sigmar and see how it plays and how it works with the older models. But that said, you know, I don't know. At this point, it's a new game system to me, and I'm open to everything now. I'm open now to War Machine, which in the past I wasn't very open to. I'm even working with somebody. His name is Taxi Biggins at the Bugman's Brewery. You could find it. So it's and I'll give you more details there. We're working on a game system that is very similar to Warhammer, and so that allows us to play that traditional Warhammer look and feel. If you're interested, go over to Bugman's Brewery under the market, under the one of the forums, and it's called Alternative Rule Set, and it's where three of us are working together and building a core rule set. I will say this: he asked me not to give details because Taxi Baggin wrote most of it, but it's mostly complete. There's a few areas that we need to fill the gaps, and but I would say in about maybe a couple of weeks' time, it'll be ready for playtesting. There's also other game systems. I'm open to Kings of War now. I really wasn't interested. I know our game group said if Warhammer decided if Games Workshop decided to ditch Warhammer, they'd be willing to go to King of Wars. They've already played it in the past and are excited about version 2, and so that might be an area we might go. So you might see some Kings of War battle reports on this channel. You'll also see some Age of Sigmar. I do plan to stick with it and just try it out, just because I think most people will be playing that game system. But if not, you know, I'm open at this point to looking at everything. Now, I'm not mad at Games Workshop. I understand it's a business and they need to do what's good for them. I don't feel betrayed. I've enjoyed this industry for years, and my models, they're still my models. They still work, and there's other game systems I could use them for. So I'm okay with what they did. I'm just not interested in what they're producing now. So this is Kelmore signing out. Thank you for listening.